Fabian, hello. Everybody is slowly joining, which is great. So I want to use this opportunity to greet everybody. Labdien visiem! This session will be in English, and the presentation part will be recorded, and the questions and answers part will be for our ears and eyes only, very exclusively for those who have joined live at the Zoom session. Hello, I'm I3INSTRUMENT. I'm heading Latvian Innovation and Technology Office in Brussels, and I'm happy that to talk to you today about I3INSTRUMENT. To warm the floor, I'd like to tell a little bit about what Office does and when you can reach out to me if you don't know it yet. So Office is based in Brussels. It's one of the 22 LIA offices abroad, where 3 of the offices are on technology and innovation to help technologies to develop until the market. And I'm helping to access EU funding and opportunities. So I invite you to write to me if you have questions and follow on LinkedIn. And today, specific topic and focus is on I3INSTRUMENT, as many of you had questions about it. So I'm very grateful that ISMEA was open to have this in very short notice an info session. And just to lay the ground, let's say, how Latvia looks at this moment at this instrument. So we are doing actually not bad. So there are 6 projects where Latvian partners involved at this moment, 11 partnerships. And in one of the successful applications, there is a Latvian partner as a coordinator, that is Latvijas Ūdeņraža Asociācija. And in others, there are partner roles with different funding amounts. And currently, the participations are targeting more or less 3 Latvian smart specialization areas, that is bioeconomy, biomedicine, and smart energy fields. And now I will stop sharing, and I would like to introduce you to Maja Ferling from ISMEA. ISMEA is executive agency of the European Commission, helping innovation growth. And Maja is working for Department for Innovation Ecosystems. And she will tell us more about the open applications. Open calls that are actual now, and afterwards will be open for your questions. During the presentation, I invite you to post questions already in the chat, and there will be also a possibility to speak at the questions and answer session as well. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Egita, for inviting me today to present the I3INSTRUMENT to the Latvian stakeholders. Before we start, I must say that Egita and I have quite a long history. We've been working together since last 15 years, on and off in different circumstances. I joined ISMEA last year in November as a project advisor for the Interregional Innovation Instrument projects. Before, I was working for a Slovenian Business and Research Association, so I was working on a project, but from the other side, more on the beneficiary side. So as Egita mentioned, I'm working for European executive agencies for European Innovation Council and small and medium-sized enterprises. This agency basically implements the policies of different DGs, mostly DGs for research and innovation, but also DG Regio, which is the case of the I3INSTRUMENT, and some other DGs as well. And we are mostly focused on the innovation policies and for instruments for support of small and medium-sized enterprises. I will start sharing my screen, if it's okay with you. Voila. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, you can put it in full.
Okay, so I no longer see you or any
But can you
comments.
put the screen in the full screen?
I did. Can you see it?
No. Maybe
If I
it's still coming.
do, you,
Perhaps you shared another screen, not full screen.
wait.
The text
Stop
is also
sharing.
the text was also big enough to see without it being full screen. So
Wait.
I think we can see it.
I will share my desktop then, and then we'll see what happens. Do you see it now?
Yes, perfect. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Right. Okay. So, I3INSTRUMENT, Interregional Innovation Investment Instrument. It's rather new instrument that was introduced in this financial period in 2021. 2027 and is established under the European Regional Development Fund. So basically this is a cohesion instrument, and it was designed to kind of address this gap or what was missing in the mainstream cohesion instruments, basically the interregional dimension, but also investment dimension. I3INSTRUMENT, the main aim is to facilitate the transition from interregional cooperation to interregional investments, because as you know, there are a lot of projects funded in the Interreg instrument or projects funded by mainstream ERDF, which kind of go to the phase of learning and cooperation, but there was no so much funding for the concrete demonstration project and for concrete investments in the validation, in the demonstration of different innovation projects. And there where the I3INSTRUMENT stepped in. Also, since it is a cohesion policy, very important element is to connect less developed regions with more developed regions and increase the competitiveness of the less developed regions. And of course, very important component is to strengthen interregional value chains in a different sectors, which are the priority for the I3INSTRUMENT. This is the graphic coverage of the participation of the I3INSTRUMENT projects. With the dark red are the regions that have, let's say, the most participation in the I3INSTRUMENT, and in the yellow are the regions with the less participation in the I3INSTRUMENT. So basically all regions in the European Union can participate in the I3INSTRUMENT, but it's not, unlike like Horizon, for example, I3INSTRUMENT is not open for any regions or countries outside of the European Union. So not even for Norway, for example, or Switzerland or UK or other countries. But some outermost regions, for example, can also participate, like Martinique, Madeira, and so on, but they are part of the European Union. And take a good look of this graph, because this graph, the participation of the regions in I3INSTRUMENT very much corresponds to this graph. And these are the regions who participate in so-called smart specialization community of practice, or so-called smart specialization thematic platforms. European Commission, DG Regio, a few years ago, or let's say more than 10 years ago, started with promoting the cooperation among regions with so-called smart specialization strategy thematic platforms. Right now, there are more than 30, I think, different thematic platforms grouped in these 4 groups: in agri-food, energy, industrial modernization, and a sustainable blue economy. And this is some sort of flagship instrument or initiative of the DG Regio. And as you can see here, the regions that participate in this partnership also somehow participate in the I3INSTRUMENT project. So it's it is very linked. I3INSTRUMENT is divided into 3 so-called strands, or 3 so-called groups. Strand 1 and Strand 2A are investment strands, which means that I3 project or I3 instruments in these 2 strands support investments in interregional innovation projects. For Strand 1 in the shared smart specialization areas, and in Strand 2A investment projects which are more focused on development of value chains in less developed regions. So basically both Strands 1 and Strand 2A are investment projects with a lot of funding going to demonstration and equipment, but first one is more for the building value chains on EU level, the value chains that are competitive in worldwide, and Strand 2A is more focused on development of the value chains in less developed regions. And then Strand 2B is so-called capacity building strand, where the projects are a little bit smaller. The projects do not invest in the investment or in the demonstration or in the equipment, but invest more in the sharing of knowledge, in the capacity building, in bringing together different stakeholders in the regional innovation ecosystem, and learning from stakeholders from another regions. And we also have some funding for so-called I3 support facility, which I'm going to present later. Altogether, for 7 years, there is a little bit less than €500 million of EU funding. Now we are in a third year of the I3 instrument, and next year we are going to start with the last working program for 2025-2027, which is currently in the preparation. And the projects in the I3 instrument are targeting 3 thematic areas. One is a digital transition. For example, we have a lot of projects in a digital health specifically. Then our green transition, everything has to do with circular economy, with the blue economy, with the biofood, and so on. And the third thematic area is smart manufacturing. And all 3 areas are very in detail described also in the call for proposal of the text. This slide kind of shows what is the upstream and downstream dependency. So on the left side, with this orange frame, we have a phase of learn and connect, basically, which means that the regions or regional stakeholders participate in different associations in, for example, S3 thematic platforms. They participate in the EU different groupings where they learn from each other. When they connect, they can also participate in different, like for example, Horizon projects or different other projects, also capacity building, I3 capacity building projects. They learn and connect, and then prepare interregional investment projects. But then on the right side, on the blue, in the blue area, is our project Strand 1 and Strand 2B from the I3 that then provide the funding for the concrete investments of these projects that were designed in the orange phase, let's say in the learn and connect phase. So basically in the right side, on the blue side, we have projects that support demonstration of different innovation, commercialization of different innovations, so basically, and the scaling up. So basically, the projects here promote investments that start with technology readiness level 6 and bring those technologies to the market and scale them up on the European market. These are the projects that have been selected so far. I'm not going to go into the details. You can see all the projects and their abstracts here on this link. I don't know if you see the mouse, but here on the link. Here we have, for example, investment projects for Strand 1 and Strand 2A. Blue ones are the ones which are for the smart manufacturing, green ones are for green transition, and gray ones are the projects that are corresponding to the digital transition. And we also have 18 capacity building projects that correspond to Strand 2B. I will now go a little bit more into the details and present the two calls that are currently open. And these are two investment calls, Strand 1 and Strand 2A. I must say that also Strand 2B call is open for the capacity building. The deadline is on 14th of November, but you're welcome to see it, but I will focus a little bit more attention to these two investment projects. So what are the general objectives of these investment projects in the I3 instrument? First of all, we have to have in mind that those calls and those projects are targeting mostly small and medium-sized enterprises, and the promoting the innovation in the small and medium-sized enterprises. And on the other hand, that they are cohesion projects, that they are not horizon projects. We are not targeting so much on the excellence of the innovation, but more the cohesion dimension, which means like connecting less developed regions and stakeholders in less developed regions with more developed regions. I3 projects in investment two strands, they promote creation of the innovation, diffusion of the innovation in the less developed regions, and reinforcement of the EU and regional, building the regional value chains. So that means that different stakeholders from different regions, from one specific industrial area, for example, build the value chain and create the cooperation in their investments in the future. I3 investment projects, as the name says, promote interregional innovation investments. So they are offering the consortia of the innovation actors from the different quadruple helix ecosystem, all the financial and advisory support to bring their investments to more mature levels. So from TRL 6 to TRL 9. The project proposals for these two investment calls have to already predefine their investment portfolios, where they defined interrelated and mature interregional innovation investments, so-called pilots or sub-pilots, and those innovation investments have to correspond to the smart specialization priority areas in the regions. So the regions that participate in the I3 project have to have shared or complementary smart specialization priority areas. This is very important. I3 projects also support demonstration, as mentioned before, market upscale or scaling up of mature innovations to be brought to the market. And investment projects, I3 investment projects are also ideal follow-up of the previous projects, like, for example, I3 Strand 2B projects, different ERDF projects, or even Horizon Europe projects. This is an indicative timeline. So investment projects in the I3 were open on 6th of June this year. Deadline is 5th of December this year. Between December and April, the received project applications will be evaluated. Probably in May next year, we will have already the results of the evaluation, and we will inform the successful projects and also the projects that were not successful. And grant agreements are expected to be finalized during the summer, so the project could start in September 2025. So this is the difference between the specific objectives in the Strand 1 and Strand 2A. Let me just remind again that both are investment projects, but Strand 1 is more focused in the competitiveness of the European value chains and increasing the resistance of European value chains in smart specialization areas. And Strand 2B is more focused on building value chains in the less developed regions. I'm not going to go through the every bullet point here. Also, these objectives are very nicely described in the in the call text, but this is the main difference. Basically, the strand 1 is more focused on the value chains on European level, and strand 2A is more focused on the building value chains in less developed regions. Strand 1 is more focused on innovation creation, so basically creating new innovation, and strand 2A is more focused on diffusion of the innovation. That means bringing the already existing innovation, let's say, from more developed regions to less developed regions. These are the eligible activities for both strands, for strand 1 and strand 2A. In this project, we are expecting to see already the description of the mature investment portfolios that are already in level 6 of the technology readiness level. We are expecting that these investment portfolios correspond to the value chain, to the certain industrial area, and that innovations in these portfolios are either new to Europe or new to the application sector. So also the innovation has to be something new, new to the Europe. The activities that are funded through the I3 investment projects are, for example, commercialization and upscaling activities, all the activities that bring innovation ideas closer to the market. So, for example, validation, testing, connection of different demonstration and facilitation facilities, prototyping or post-prototyping activities, validation and testing in real environment, for example, procuring new equipment or new machines to test different innovation and so on. So basically really activities that correspond to technology readiness level TRL 6 or more. What is the type of support that is given to the project? First is financial support. This means the direct funding to the beneficiaries that are directly involved in the consortium. This means project partners. And I3 projects are also giving the opportunity for so-called cascade funding or financial support to third parties. This is optional. Consortia can include financial support to third parties, or they don't have to include it. But the financial support to third parties is intended for small and medium-sized companies that are not directly involved as the main beneficiaries in the consortium, but are still receiving some financial support for the activities that support the main investment portfolio of the project. And on the other hand, we have we are financing as well different advisory support activities like international, like IPR, standardization, certification, network activities, matchmaking activities, participation on trade fairs, and so on. What are the specific requirements? Since these I3 investment projects are very focused on small and medium-sized enterprises or on companies as such, there is a requirement that minimum 70% of the total eligible cost must be allocated to the investment in the companies, either through companies that are directly participating as the project beneficiaries or through the companies that are participating in the financial support to third parties. What is new for this year is that there is a requirement that minimal 50% of the total eligible cost shall be incurred in less developed regions, including outermost regions. This is a requirement for both strands. And also the requirement that not more than 30% of total eligible cost can be spent through the financial support to third parties. So given basically to the companies that are not directly involved in the project in the project as such. And all these specific requirements have to be really clearly described in the project application. All the projects will have to meet also these KPIs that are connected to the cohesional and territorial indicators. For example, local, interregional dimension, type of project participants, innovation dimension, and so on. For example, what do we want to see in the I3 project proposal is the participation of so-called quadruple helix partners. Quadruple helix partners, ideally, in every project should include partners that are coming from the public authorities, partners, of course, that are coming from industry, business, association, clusters, small and medium-sized companies, enterprises, and so on. Then universities, research organizations, and also the end users. But end users could also be companies as such, if they are a little bit more higher in the value chain. It is very important that investment portfolios in the project have to be interrelated, have to have some kind of connection between them, and they have to correspond to the smart specialization strategy in the region. And all the investments have to be implemented at the appropriate NUTS level. For example, now we have a lot of projects, or most of the projects, that are corresponding to the NUTS 2 level definition. Yes, and very important is also that consortium partners have to cover demand side and the supply side of the certain industrial area. So what kind of investments are expected in the project proposal? This could be or tangible or intangible investment, investment that are justified by the market analysis or the business plan and investment plan. You have to identify time to the market, which is basically technology readiness level of the start, when the project starts, and what kind of technology readiness level should be achieved at the end of the project. And minimum technology readiness level that you have to start with is 6. So you have to define whether investments are public or private. If they are like multi-level architecture, if they are like on the national, regional, European level, if they are portfolio-based, and they have to be, of course, evidence-based. And all this, when you will preparing your project application, corresponds to these key performance indicators. So this is basically the maturity of innovation. As I said, your proposal and your technology readiness level at the beginning of the project have to be 6, which is also quite high, and it has to come up until 8 or 9. And there are also different type of innovation that could be considered in the I3 project, from product innovation, from process innovation, marketing innovation, organizational innovation. Basically, as long as it's very well described in the project proposal, all these types of innovation could be accepted. So there is 31 million euros available for Strand 1. Call for proposal, and a little bit more, 36 million euros for Strand 2A call for proposal. We are expecting projects from 2 to 10 million euros of EU co-funding. The duration of the project should be between 18 to 36 months, although I must say that most of the projects from Strand 1 and 2A are 36-month projects. Funding rate is 70% for all project cost categories, except for the financial support to third parties that is funded 100%. So basically all the funding that it will be further given to the third parties through the cascade funding is funded with a 100% rate. There are also some differences in consortium composition. For example, in Strand 1, we are expecting at least 5 independent legal entities that are coming from 5 different regions in at least 3 eligible countries, and at least 2 legal entities must come from the less developed regions. In Strand 2A, for example, we have the requirement for the consortium composition is that there are 3 independent legal entities, at least 3 legal independent entities coming from 3 different regions from at least 2 eligible countries, and consortium shall represent at least 1 more developed regions. There are also some specific requirements regarding the coordinator of the consortium. The coordinator of the consortium must be either public body, managing authority, ministry, municipality, or something like that, or could be also private entity, but they must be entrusted by national or regional government to implement as smart specialization strategy elements. For example, this could be clusters, development agencies, innovation agencies, or some other organizations that are not acting only on their own behalf, but they are representing a little bit wider community in the region. So when your projects will be evaluated, they will be evaluated according to this award criteria, where, for example, relevance brings a little bit more points than other 3 award criteria, which is also new because still from the last year calls, the quality, for example, brought more points, but now we changed it to the relevance. So basically how your proposal matches the objectives, what is the participation of less developed regions, and how what is the quality basically of those projects. These are just some practicalities. When projects signed a grant agreement, they receive 70% of the total grant amount, and the rest 30% of the grant amount they receive when they submit the final project report. Sorry, these are the mandatory documents and mandatory annexes. If you will prepare your project proposal, then you will have to basically fill in all the mandatory documents, of course, application form, a technical description of the project. We have increased it for 10 more pages, so you have more space to describe your project proposal. And these are some mandatory annexes that you will have to also prepare if you decide to submit a project proposal. So basically what is new with 2024 calls, that we have one-step evaluation, not two-step evaluation, which is a lot of simplification. We increased the pages of the project proposal from 60 to 70. So as I mentioned, relevance has now 10 points instead of 5 as it was before. Then we have also introduced this interim report and payment. For now, it was like that you receive 70% of the payment when you signed the grant agreement, and 30% you received after you submitted the final report. But now we will introduce already the interim payment, which is a little bit more easier, I guess. So there will be no more endorsement letter as we requested before, but every partner and special coordinator will have to self-declare that their project is corresponding to the smart specialization priorities of their region. And we also introduced this criteria that at least 50% of total eligible costs have to be incurred in the less developed regions by consortium partners, also including the FSTP. Just a few words about the I3 support facility that we will just start probably tomorrow, sign the contract tomorrow with the selected consortium. This was a tender. This was not a grant. Basically, it was not a project, but we published the tender end of next year, and then we selected consortium who is going to support regional stakeholders, less developed regions, already existing projects, and also European Commission in implementation of the I3 instrument. So, and these are the tasks that they will fulfill. For example, they will be responsible for the development of the knowledge. For example, they will organize information days. They will share good practices, project examples, technical guidance. They will have a electronic platform, so-called capacity building hub, where different stakeholders and different regions will have the opportunity to exchange their best practices. They will have a media center, publish a lot of publication, and of course, as a third one, activity, they will also organize a lot of physical and online events with the purpose of promoting I3INSTRUMENT, sharing good practices, and basically securing the successful implementation of the project. That would be all from my side. I hope everybody's still there, because I know
Yes,
this.
yes, thank you. No, it was very, very interesting.
It was in short.
Now,
I'm open for any questions if you have. I'll just stop sharing.
very well. So now let me ask my colleague Laima to stop the recording, and thanks to her very much for communicating